Boundaries in love, why setting limits attracts respect. Opening with a striking statement. Without boundaries, love cannot thrive. This may seem counterintuitive, but it's a fundamental truth. Boundaries are the foundation of healthy, respectful relationships. They define what's acceptable and what's not, and they protect your well-being while ensuring that both partners feel valued and respected. We often think of love as being limitless, as something that should be freely given without constraints. But in reality, love without boundaries can quickly become unhealthy, leading to resentment, codependency, and even emotional harm. Introducing the topic of boundaries as essential for healthy relationships. Today, we're going to explore the importance of boundaries in love, why they're crucial for mutual respect, how to set them effectively, and how they can actually increase attraction and deepen your connection with your partner. We'll discuss the dangers of not having clear boundaries and provide practical advice on how to establish and maintain them in your relationships. Because here's the truth, boundaries are not barriers to love, they're the framework that allows it to flourish. The importance of boundaries. Why boundaries are crucial for mutual respect and understanding. Boundaries are essential in any healthy relationship because they create a clear understanding of what is acceptable and what is not. They help both partners feel safe, respected, and valued. Without boundaries, relationships can become chaotic, with blurred lines and unmet expectations leading to frustration and resentment. Dr. John Gottman, a leading relationship expert, has conducted extensive research on what makes relationships successful. One of his key findings is that couples who set and respect each other's boundaries are more likely to have lasting, fulfilling relationships. Boundaries create a sense of stability and trust, which are critical components of a healthy relationship. Boundaries are not about controlling the other person, they're about protecting your own well-being and ensuring that both partners are on the same page. They allow you to express your needs, desires, and limits clearly without fear of judgment or rejection. The dangers of not having clear boundaries in relationships. When boundaries are not clearly defined or respected, relationships can quickly become unhealthy. Without boundaries, one partner may begin to dominate the relationship, while the other may feel overwhelmed, taken for granted, or even emotionally manipulated. This lack of boundaries can lead to a range of issues, including codependency, where one partner becomes overly reliant on the other for their emotional needs. It can also result in a loss of individuality, where one partner sacrifices their own needs and desires to keep the relationship intact. Over time, the absence of boundaries can erode the trust and respect that are essential for a healthy relationship. It can lead to feelings of resentment, frustration, and even anger, as one partner feels their needs are consistently ignored or dismissed. How to set healthy boundaries. Step-by-step guide to establishing and communicating boundaries. Setting healthy boundaries is not just about saying no. It's about understanding your own needs and communicating them clearly to your partner. Here's a step-by-step guide to help you establish and maintain boundaries in your relationships. Identify your needs and limits. Start by reflecting on what you need to feel safe, respected, and valued in a relationship. What are your non-negotiables? What are the things you're willing to compromise on? Understanding your own needs and limits is the first step in setting boundaries. Consider areas such as personal space, time, communication, and emotional needs. Be honest with yourself about what you're comfortable with and what you're not. Communicate clearly and directly. Once you've identified your boundaries, communicate them clearly and directly to your partner. Use I statements to express your needs without sounding accusatory. For example, instead of saying, "You never give me space," say, "I need some alone time to recharge, and it's important to me that we respect that." Be assertive, but respectful in your communication. Make sure your partner understands that these boundaries are about maintaining a healthy, balanced relationship. Be consistent. Consistency is key when it comes to maintaining boundaries. Once you've set a boundary, stick to it. If you allow your boundaries to be crossed without addressing it, it sends a message that they're not important, which can lead to further boundary violations. Consistency also helps reinforce the importance of your boundaries to your partner, making it clear that they're non-negotiable. Be open to negotiation. While some boundaries are non-negotiable, others may require flexibility. Be open to discussing your boundaries with your partner and finding a middle ground that works for both of you. Remember, boundaries are about creating a healthy balance in the relationship, so it's important to be willing to adjust them as needed, as long as your core needs are still being met. To respect your partner's boundaries. Just as you expect your partner to respect your boundaries, it's equally important that you respect theirs. Listen to their needs and limits, and be willing to honor them, even if they differ from your own. Mutual respect for each other's boundaries is the foundation of a healthy, balanced relationship. Examples of boundaries in different relationship scenarios. Boundaries can look different depending on the relationship and the individuals involved. Here are some examples of boundaries in different relationship scenarios. Personal space. In a romantic relationship, you might set a boundary around needing some alone time each week to focus on personal hobbies or self-care. This helps maintain your individuality and prevents burnout. Communication. You might set a boundary around how you communicate during disagreements. For example, agreeing to take a break and cool down before continuing a heated discussion can prevent arguments from escalating. Time management. In a work-life balance scenario, you might set a boundary around not answering work emails after a certain time in the evening to ensure that you have time to relax and recharge. Emotional needs. You might set a boundary around how you're treated emotionally. For example, if your partner often uses sarcasm or criticism, you might set a boundary that you won't tolerate hurtful language and that you expect constructive communication instead. The impact of boundaries on attraction. How setting boundaries can increase attraction and respect. Setting boundaries is not just about protecting yourself, it can actually increase attraction and respect in a relationship. When you set clear boundaries, you're signaling to your partner that you know your worth and that you won't accept anything less than what you deserve. This self-respect is incredibly attractive. It shows that you have a strong sense of identity and that you're not willing to compromise your values or needs just to keep a relationship. It also creates a dynamic of mutual respect where both partners feel valued and understood. Dr. Harriet Lerner, a psychologist and author, has written extensively about the importance of boundaries in relationships. She explains that when both partners have clear boundaries, it creates a balance of power where neither partner feels dominated or controlled. This balance fosters a deeper connection and a more fulfilling relationship. Boundaries also help to create a sense of security in the relationship. When both partners know where they stand and what's expected of them, it reduces the potential for misunderstandings and conflict. This clarity and mutual respect can lead to a stronger, more intimate connection. Stories of relationships that improved after boundaries were set. Let's look at some examples of how setting boundaries can improve a relationship. Example 1. Reclaiming personal space. Sarah and Tom had been in a relationship for several years, but Sarah often felt overwhelmed by Tom's need for constant togetherness. She loved him, but she also needed time to herself to recharge. However, she was afraid to set this boundary, fearing it would hurt Tom's feelings or make him feel rejected. After much consideration, Sarah decided to communicate her need for personal space. She explained to Tom that she needed a few hours each week to focus on her own interests, and that it wasn't about distancing herself from him, but about taking care of her own well-being. To Sarah's surprise, Tom was very understanding. He respected her boundary and even found that he enjoyed having some time to himself as well. This small change led to a significant improvement in their relationship. They both felt more relaxed and happy, and their time together became even more meaningful. Example 2. Establishing emotional boundaries. Emily was in a relationship where her partner often made sarcastic comments that hurt her feelings. She would brush them off, but over time, these comments began to affect her self-esteem and her feelings for her partner. She realized that she needed to set an emotional boundary to protect herself. Emily decided to have a conversation with her partner about how these comments made her feel. She explained that she needed constructive communication and that sarcasm and criticism were not acceptable in their relationship. Her partner initially felt defensive, but after some reflection, he understood the impact of his words. He agreed to work on his communication style and to respect Emily's emotional boundaries. This change led to a more supportive and loving dynamic between them, and Emily felt more valued and respected in the relationship, reinforcing the idea that boundaries lead to stronger connections. As we've explored today, boundaries are not barriers to love, they're the framework that allows it to thrive. By setting clear boundaries, you protect your well-being, create a dynamic of mutual respect, and foster a deeper connection with your partner. Boundaries are essential for maintaining a healthy, balanced relationship. They ensure that both partners feel valued, understood, and respected, and in doing so, they actually increase attraction and deepen your connection. Empowering message about the role of boundaries in love. So, don't be afraid to set boundaries in your relationships. Remember, boundaries are not about pushing people away, they're about bringing people closer in a way that is healthy, respectful, and fulfilling. By setting and respecting boundaries, you create the conditions for a love that is strong, balanced, and enduring. Because true love doesn't require you to sacrifice your well-being or compromise your values. It thrives when both partners are clear about their needs and respectful of each other's limits. So, embrace the power of boundaries and watch as your relationships grow stronger, deeper, and more fulfilling.